Welcome to the So You Missed Church podcast. We are happy to have you here with us today. Happy Monday to you. This is Clint Daly, and I'm hoping that if you missed church this week, or maybe you just couldn't go, but you didn't actually miss church this week, that we can help you get your week started in a positive way. You know, we have now been doing this podcast for about 4 months, and next week will actually be our 20th episode. And one common question that I've heard from listeners so far is, where is it you're getting your ideas for the subjects you talk about? And sometimes I even get asked, was that podcast about me? First, let me put your mind to rest. It was probably not about you. In fact, I usually speak about things that I personally struggle with or things that are on my mind. So it probably wasn't a message directed at you nearly as much as it was a message directed at me. Sorry, my selfishness does rear its ugly head quite often. But I will also say that many of the messages that I have here on the podcast come from the fact that I am constantly looking for things to talk about, and I am constantly taking notes on my phone of items or subjects that I think would make for good subject matter. And of course, one of the best ways to come up with subject matter for a podcast based within the Bible is to, yes, actually go crack open and read the Bible. Amazing how that works, right? But last week, I was reading in the book of 1 Kings. And in chapter 3, it is discussing the son of King David, Solomon, who would also become king after his father. And it says, the king went to Gibeon to offer sacrifices, for that was the most important high place. And Solomon offered 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar. At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream. And God said, ask for whatever you want me to give you. Solomon answered, you have shown great kindness to your servant, my father David, because he was faithful to you, and righteous, and upright in heart. You have continued this great kindness to him, and have given him a son to sit on his throne this very day. Now, Lord my God, you have made your servant king in place of my father David. But I am only a little child and do not know how to carry out my duties. Your servant is here among the people you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to count or number. So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. For who is able to govern this great people of yours? The Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for this. So God said to him, since you have asked for this, and not for long life, or wealth for yourself, nor have you asked for the death of your enemies, but for discernment in administering justice, I will do what you have asked. And I will be very transparent with you today on this podcast. I often pray, and I often ask for God's wisdom. Not because I'm trying to copy Solomon, but simply because most of the time in life, I feel like an absolute moron, and I will take all the help that I can possibly get. But as I ask for this, I've really begun to think about what wisdom truly is. Because when we think of wisdom, we immediately think of just like knowing stuff, right? But we also know you can know all sorts of facts and not be a wise person at all. You can know a ton of things, but not know how to live. What's the old saying? You might have book smarts, but you don't have any street smarts. And yet, it also can't just be the street smarts or maybe emotional maturity, right? If you don't have some intellectual capacity, would we really say you're all that wise? So what is wisdom? And the answer that I keep coming back to is someone who has a thirst for knowledge and looks to learn something from everyone and from everywhere. Because that person approaches every day with an attitude that there is something new to learn and there is some way that you can improve yourself. Someone who is wise is not necessarily someone who just has knowledge, but someone who constantly seeks knowledge. And it occurs to me that there are far too many people who go through life assuming that they already know everything that they need to know. And so they go through the world content that they already know all they need to know. But keep in mind that if you stop learning today, you'll be ignorant by next week. It won't take long. I encourage you this week to approach the world with a thirst for knowledge and a sense of humility that you might not know everything yet. And you too will be with me on a quest for wisdom. And in our world today, I am fully convinced that we have never been in such a dire need of some more wisdom. In this life, we can never say, I know enough. Hey, crack open that Bible. Have a conversation with someone. Consider what you just might learn today. Because every day, we should be on a quest to learn more. Hey, remember, you can always contact us at youmisschurch@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out to us. You can also follow us on Facebook or X at YouMissChurch, and you can subscribe to the podcast anywhere podcasts are hosted, or just follow us on YouTube. Hey, I wish you all a happy Monday, and I hope that you have a great week.